Hi, so my name is Jan Perro. I'm the director at James Fuentes Gallery Los Angeles, and I'm delighted to bring you to Stipan Tidac's first solo exhibition here in Los Angeles, Diamonds and Rust. The title is from a song by Janis Joplin that is important for the artist because of its lyrics, which is about Los Angeles. And this exhibition came together after Stipan went to Los Angeles a few years ago. He is a Croatian artist who lives in New York. He's been living in New York for almost 20 years now. And he came because he loved a painting by James Ensor at the Getty Museum. But he was also fascinated by La La Land and Hollywood and then the real Los Angeles. So he's decided to dedicate a year and a half to that exhibition, and he's been working on those paintings for the last 16 months, and it's my honor to introduce you to Stipan's Los Angeles. So we start with this work, which is a just iconic Los Angeles streets with those, right? You know those murals. I mean, he's obsessed by the Beatles. But what you can see here, and you can see the pavement and the cars, passing by, and especially people walking. And what he's interested in is the everyday life of Angelinos and the reality of a city that we tend to glamorize and see only through the lens of film and Hollywood. And so he decided to go back to the street, which is his approach. So as a European, because he's from Zagreb, from Croatia, he went downtown Los Angeles with a bus, and then he just walked the city. He didn't take any car. He said, I'm going to approach the city as a European, or as if I were somewhere else. And then walking the streets endlessly for hours and hours, days and nights, he discovers these little details and patterns. And somehow I think he made an authentic homage to the city. So you can see also he's inspired by graphic novel as well as video games. You can see that in the characters, they almost could be in a video game, the way they look like. But also, of course, you can see Robert Crumb or Dan Atto influence and inspiration here. It's almost like a comic strip or graphic novel or an animation. And then overall, what he's intrigued about is also the signs and the symbols. So you can see how we know all those places, right? If we live in LA, like La Pupusta and Smoke Shop, it's all those things that are part of the landscape. And when you are in LA, all these things come to you as image of the city. But here he captures them so well that people actually believe he's from Los Angeles, which is the best homage you can pay to him. Also, if you look down here, right, you have those vignettes of little scenes of everyday life and people, right? So he takes notes, he takes photography, he's a compulsive drawer, he does all the sketches. But he's also, as I was mentioning, a graphic novelist, so he does these graphic novels, and you can see here it's like a comic strip, right? You can read it from left to right, and you can follow, and you can, it's as if you were in Los Angeles, a day in the life of Los Angeles, where he's been to those places. That's him here, right? You can see him smoking a cigarette here. The Jumbo Clown room, which is a famous strip room where he's here, and then he goes to Cantor, and I don't know what's happening here, but something I don't notice. I always notice new things. I love his sky here. You can see the kind of sunset that is typical of Los Angeles. You can see up here that angel, of course, Los Angeles angel, smoking a cigarette, and somehow there are references to East European tradition of folk art and naive art from Croatia, where you would have this sort of angels and symbols and icons on those paintings in Europe. So it's an interesting mix of different cultural reference also. So you can see here also he is fascinated by architecture and Art Deco. He's been doing a series of work on those Art Deco. Of course, this one, we all know it in Los Angeles, but now it's a derelict building, it's empty, we don't really know what's happening, so he's been revealing those stories that he collects in in those little figures that he put in all these rooms. And when you talk to him, he will tell you what is what in that book, that person lived here. Now you can also see here, if you go to the sky, those are, for instance, people from Bosnia, how they Americanize their name. Esma becomes Emily, Azra becomes Alice. And that's also an Ethiopian tradition of depicting family trees, and paying homage to people when they pass away that way. And you can also see here, it's like a collage, right, with like clips from the Los Angeles Times, like number 2 starters for Dodgers, FBI raids home at Oakland. So it's like a collage with painting on top of it here. So here we are in front of what I would say is his masterpiece. This painting is Shadows, and it's inspired by James Ensor. I was mentioning how he came to LA to see that iconic painting at the Getty Museum, The Christ Entering Brussels by James Ensor. He actually put his name here. But you can see, if you look closely at those figures, this is the James Ensor painting, right? All those shadows, all those kind of ghosts are floating around, almost transparent. And they intertwine and mix and nurture with nowadays Los Angeles. So that's like a 19th century painting revisited by him to connect with Chinatown. This is a port in Chinatown that everybody knows in Los Angeles. And he was telling me how he had a revelation in this restaurant. This is him probably having food, the food show, right, which is a quite well-known restaurant in Chinatown, Los Angeles. So he's depicting himself here, thinking about the painting he's going to do, Shadows here. And maybe one last detail I want to show you is, if you look at those cups here, right, for instance, here you can see definitely that he's a graphic novelist. This is more like cartoon and almost the Simpsons kind of style, right? But here and here and here, you see the tradition of Ensor, Otto Dix, all these canons of classical and Renaissance painting also inspiring him.